what's going on, people? Rasati out here in Singapore. You're listening to the Night Owl podcast, and I'm back again today because I wanted to really work this concept out and see if y'all can catch the drift that I'm trying to lay down here. So the point being that I think that we have a problem in the community in general because it is part of the culture to talk about the things we don't want, talk about the things we're not happy about. In essence, complain. It is part of our culture to complain. It is the way we connect with each other, unfortunately. We commiserate together on the things that we don't like. We talk about, what's wrong with society, what's wrong with the media today, what's wrong with, the public school system. I blame it on the government. I blame it on taxi drivers. I blame it on Wuhan, whatever you want to call it. The point being that we do a lot of that. We commiserate a lot. They say misery love company. Well, damn it. This is part of the culture now because this is the only way we talk. When we get up to talk on stages, when we're trying to teach the parents, when we're trying to teach the children, when we're trying to teach educators, lectures, TED Talks. Okay, maybe not TED Talks because that's a little more uplifting, but the point being that usually when you sit down and listen to somebody, they're talking about what's wrong with the world. They're not talking about how they're going to fix it, but they're talking about what's wrong with the world. I'm not going to knock any one person, but there are people out there that will talk about cultures and what's wrong with the specific cultures. Our comedy is based on what's wrong with what's going on in the world today. Yes, it is a way to draw attention to what's not right in our society, but there is no solution attached to that. And I kind of feel like that's where we're going wrong at the moment. Because when you talk about law of attraction, we're talking about where we put our attention. Lessons in attention. When we worry, we're putting all of our attention on the things we don't have, which is why we talk about, we should do meditations on gratitude. We should be more grateful every day. But being grateful for 5 minutes in the morning does not mean that you are grateful throughout the day. Yes, it changes your intention if you start the day like that, but it's still a conscious effort. It's still a shift in your thinking. It's a shift in the way you talk to people. It's a shift in the way you see the world, right? It's one lens versus another. And because it's such an ingrained habit, I find myself being pulled back into that sometimes as well. Recently, y'all will notice that I actually joined up with Twitter again. I have always been on Twitter. I've just not been active on it, but I'm trying to actually build an audience and actually speak to people and try and figure out what exactly the landscape is like on Twitter. Oh my goodness, if it isn't the most depressing place on earth, because I see people post about the things that they hate, post about the things that they're not happy about, post about how depressed they are. But if you reach out to them and say, hey, you know what? I got you. If you need, oh no, I'm good though. So why did you post that? If you're not asking for attention by posting that specific thing, what exactly did you want the response to be? I see a lot of people talk about, death and depression and anxiety, and I hate this and I feel like dying and I don't feel the need to live or go on and all these things. But if I look at the comment section, I see that it's being reposted over and over again. It's being liked. And I understand the like part, you're showing support possibly. But when you repost it, what are you saying? Are you saying you feel the same way? Are you saying that you're looking for a way out? Are you looking for help? And that's where me as a healer, I'm a little confused. When you ask for something, when you post things like that, you're showing me how you feel inside. And that is a very, very vulnerable place to be. I get it. I totally understand. But once you post something like that, me as a healer, this is what I'm looking for. You're telling me you're in pain. I, concerned as I am, want to reach out and ask you, hey, are you all right? Know that you are not alone. Know that you don't have to do this by yourself. Know that if you were to ask for help, there are people here that are looking to help. Because this is what we do. We want to share the light. We want to embrace you. We want to help you love yourself better. We want you to find a way to eliminate all the stresses in your life so you live a more happy life in general. But what I'm finding is most times when people post these things, they're not looking for help. They're looking for attention. And I feel like that's something that's very prevalent in our society and in our community. And I feel like when you throw that kind of attention behind those kinds of feelings, all you're going to get is more of that. And I feel badly. I feel really, really badly about that. People ask me all the time, how do I get the kind of life that, I can post on Instagram where I don't have to fake it? It really is, this is my life, And I keep telling people, you can't keep thinking about the things that you don't have. Yes, stay hungry. You reach one level of success and you're going to look for the next level. It's just very, very human nature, right? It's very normal. Reach for the next level. That's fine. But don't forget what all got you to where you are now. Don't forget all the hard work you have done that has built you into the person that you are today. Don't forget that there are people around you that will help. And of course, as always, there's always people around you that will take happily if you're willing to give. But worrying does not help. Complaining does not help. Throwing your attention onto the things that you don't have doesn't get you the things that you want. You need to be putting your attention on the things that you want instead. And perhaps you need the contrast. Perhaps you need to know what you don't have in order to figure out what you do need to get to what you want, if that makes any sense. So for instance, if money is what you're looking for, and money is because you need to pay a bill or go on vacation or whatever your goal might be, you don't need to focus on the lack of money, but focus on what it is that you can do that will get you more money, and then put your energy there. For instance, maybe you're in school still, and maybe, let's say you're in secondary school and you have exams and papers and studying, like all kinds of stuff you need to be worried about, right? But you want money to be able to save up to maybe, I don't know, let's say you want to get yourself a MacBook, right? But if you focus on, oh my God, I never have the time. Oh my God, this isn't working for me. Oh my gosh, no one's helping me. I have to do this by myself. You're focusing on all the things you don't have with good intention, but it's not going to get you to where you need to be. What you need to do is use those things as a piece of contrast. So maybe you don't have a lot of time. Maybe you have tuitions that you need to attend, and then you have to sit and write papers and do research and all of these things, and it does take up time. But I bet you can find 20 minutes here and there to focus on some skill set that you could develop so that you can make money off of it. Maybe it's a half an hour of tuition that you give rather than receive so that you can actually make a little bit of money. Yes, of course. 24 hours is not enough for some of us. 24 hours means that maybe you have to cut out something you really, really love in order to do something you don't like so much because you need to get to where you want to be. Sometimes it's waking up a little bit earlier. Sometimes it's going to sleep a little bit later. Sometimes it's cutting out Netflix. I hate to say it, but Netflix is great, but you can definitely lose yourself in a whole entire day if you just turn it on. You don't even have to pick something to watch in particular. You could just binge and forget the world. It's that easy. But the point being that with the same 24 hours, so many people are succeeding and so many people aren't. It just depends on where you put your energy. I was listening to, oh gosh, who was I listening to? I'm not even sure, but there was a gentleman who, David P. Nagel, okay? He was talking about how we tend to tell ourselves stories about why we can't get something. And the more we tell that story, the more we believe it. The more we say it out loud, the more it becomes true. There was a young lady who stood up and said, you know what? I have trouble sleeping. I haven't slept well since my mother passed away. And, I don't know what to do about it because I can't seem to figure out, it's been 3 years. I can't seem to figure out why I can't sleep better, why I can't fix it. I mean, it's been 3 years, but it started when my mother passed away. And he said, let me break this down for you. Let me, crack this wide open and let's talk about why you feel it has to do with your mother. He said, literally speaking, all you did was realize that the day your mother passed away, that night you had a tough time sleeping. Why? Obviously because it was grief. Obviously because you were going through something. Because it was difficult to comprehend. You were having a tough time. It's understandable. But from there, every night of sleeplessness you've attributed back to that one day that two events happened, didn't necessarily have to do with each other, but two things happened and it's become, you've tied them together, you've made that the story. Now, for 3 years, you've been saying that over and over again. I haven't been able to sleep since my mom passed away. I haven't been able to sleep since my mom passed away. And people don't seem to understand. The voice inside your head, when you say something out loud, guess what? It comes to you. You're the first person to hear that. Sometimes you're the only person because it's inside your head, but you're the first person to hear that. And when you're the first person to hear that, it's something you believe. It's something you reiterate to yourself. How do you get long-term memories? You revisit the memory over and over and over again. That's why sometimes when we look back at the major memories in our lives, they're the ones that stand out. They're the ones that shape some kinds of behavior. It's the ones that, we've told ourselves are the reason why we think we're fat. Someone somewhere at some point said something, and in that moment you believed it, and then you revisited that because it hurt so bad that one moment you revisited, and it became a long-term memory. But by making it a long-term memory, it also became part of your story. This is why people talk about victimization, or playing the victim. You're not necessarily always the victim. In certain situations, yes, but after that, you have a choice. After that, once you've come out of that situation, you're no longer a victim, but it becomes part of your story. There are some people out there that will tell you a story of how they became who they are, and they cannot tell the story without those certain pieces every time. It's part of their identity. Some people, when they tell their story, yes, they will mention these events happened and they survived it, but that's not what defines them anymore. It's the skills they developed as a result. It's the tough skin that they developed as a result. So it really depends on where you put the focus. If I focus on all the things I don't have, I will be miserable for the rest of my life. Because as much as I do have, of course, there's plenty that I don't, but I can't focus on that. If I focus on how many things there are in my fridge right now and worry about how am I going to make food for the next week, or how am I going to do this, that, and the other, I will never move away from that open fridge door because it would be that much worry. But if I set my sights about, okay, you know what? This is what's missing from the fridge. What do I need to do? Write a list of the things I need to buy. Okay, what do I need to do next? Make sure I have money to buy those things. Well, how do I go get that? I need to go do some work, or I need to, sell something, or I need to complete a project, or I need to do something. So then I'm focusing on the solution. What do I need to do next? Okay, well, what do I need to do next? Maybe it's meal prep I need to do this week. Maybe it's finishing filming something. Maybe it's a course I need to put out and actually promote. Because once I promote it, then of course money comes in, right? It's how I bring the money back in. But if I were to continue focusing on what I don't have instead of what I need to do to get what I don't have, I will be stuck in the same place. Worry. You've heard it before. People say worry is like praying for the things you don't want. Prayer is asking for the things you do want, but it's also about feeling that you can attain those things. There's a lot of times where, I'm going to admit it myself, when I want something and I've got this story in my head about why I don't deserve it. Have you ever had that? I want to be a great singer, but you know what? The story about when my voice changed and when I was younger and I can't hit the high notes no more, and how am I supposed to be a good singer? And plus, every time I sang, somebody somewhere told me that I was singing through my nose, it wasn't attractive, and somebody somewhere said I was singing too low and it's not attractive, and you know what? I hate my voice. It was that simple. I'm not a particular fan of my voice still, but I still know that there are plenty of people out there who do enjoy my voice, who do enjoy the meditations I put out, who do enjoy the podcast. They can listen to me. It's not that bad. I don't have a Fran Drescher voice. It's quite, manageable. But if I only focus on the things that I didn't have, I wouldn't ever pull the courage together to be able to try. Because maybe what was true once upon a time is no longer true. I can be better. Once upon a time, I joined a drama class because I had extra, space in my schedule, and I'd done all my AP courses or whatever, and I did drama. And I was terrified of public speaking. I was the girl in class that would not raise my hand if I was busting to go to the bathroom, because if I raise my hand, guess what happens? Everybody turns and looks at you, including the teacher. And if they weren't looking at you when you raised your hand, when the teacher says, yes, Gopika, what do you want? Then everyone would turn and look at me. And I didn't want everyone looking at me, which is part of the reason I didn't raise my hand to answer questions either, even if I knew the answer. I was that scared. I was that much of an introvert. I was afraid I would disappear. I would spontaneously combust if people looked at me. So I took that and all the fear with it, and I decided to do drama. I used to do monologues. They would make me perform. And oh my God, I memorized like a champion. I can memorize anything. Okay. But to stand up in front of people with my knees knocking, literally with my knees knocking, they tell you not to lock your knees and stand straight with your knees locked into place because you will lose consciousness if you're not careful. I would stand there, knees knocking together, terrified to open my mouth. But somehow or another, I learned, because it was taught to me, I learned to pick a spot on the wall and forget that there were people looking at me. Don't focus on the problem, the people looking at me. Focus on something that has nothing to do with anything. You can focus and just deliver the monologue. I did that. And I got better at it. The first time, sucked. The second time, not so bad. The third time, okay, I can manage this. But it took me taking my focus off of the things that scared the hell out of me and onto something completely unrelated so that I could allow things to happen. And sometimes that's all you need. This is what I mean by a lesson in attention. If I focus on the things I don't have, I will not be open to allowing a solution to appear to me, to come to me, to be downloaded. Let's say coaching practice way back in the beginning, right? I did not have any clients, obviously, because I'm starting out. I didn't have an audience. No one was listening to me. If I focus on the fact that no one was listening to me, what's the first thing that's probably going to happen? What's the first thought that's going to occur to me? You know what? No one's listening. I should probably quit. You know what? I have no clients. It probably means that I suck as a coach and I should probably quit. You know what? No one's commenting or liking on my posts. I should probably quit. I mean, if no one's showing me that I'm important, maybe I'm not important. But could you imagine if I only focused on that? At one point, I thought it was because, I'm posting other people's stuff. Well, it's always going to be other people's stuff. Knowledge has been knowledge forever. This is not new. It just occurs to me now. It's new to me now. All these solutions, all of this, all these ideas, they're not new. But they're occurring to me now, so it's new to me. But if I only focus on the things I didn't have, I won't find the courage or find the inspiration to move forward and keep doing what I'm doing. I've been doing this podcast for 3 years now. 3 years. I've been posting on Instagram since 2013. That's 7 years? I have been studying psychology since I was in high school. That's since 1994. I've been helping people throughout my corporate life. That is building teams, learning how to manage people, bringing out the best in everybody. If I quit because one person got offended, if I quit because I made someone cry, trust me, I did. I think I made one of my college professors cry once, and I didn't mean to. Poor man, he was having a fever that day, and I happened to ask a question. He thought I was being an asshole, but I wasn't. I was asking a question because I did not know the answer. I couldn't understand. It just hit him wrong. But if I quit every time I hurt someone's feelings, if I quit every time I failed at something, where would I be? And I'm not doing this for fame or fortune. I'm doing this because I know I can make a difference. I've seen it happen before. I'm focusing on the things that I am capable of doing. So, when I say lesson in attention, you need to be aware of where your attention is going. When you call your favorite person to bitch and complain about what you don't have because they know and they understand and they're going to let you bitch and complain and they're going to bitch and complain too, and you're going to have just bitch fest. It's going to be awesome. When you do that, where is your energy? What are you pouring energy into? Something positive and something not so great. Are you looking for a solution at that point? Are you looking to expand the problem? So, my advice to you is pay attention to where your energy is going, to what you are speaking about, to what you're focused on. And yes, you know what? When you have a tough time and you're having this feeling, yes, you're going to need to pour some of that energy in there for a little while. But with anything, with any emotion, you can't feel it for very long. Not by itself. You're going to need help to feel it for longer. Usually when you have a difficult emotion, you'll feel it, you will indulge it, you will cry, you will get angry, I don't know, whatever the case may be. And eventually it's difficult to hold on to that emotion. You're going to have to let it go. It kind of passes by itself. It's like a cloud in the sky. It blocks the sun for a moment and then it passes. It's fine. The sun will come back out again. But it takes effort to hold that cloud there, which means you are doing something actively to keep it where it is, to revisit it, to remember, to continue. And sometimes that becomes a habit to the point that, you know what, after a while, it happens by itself and you can't control it. You don't know where it comes from. Why is this still here? It's because it became a habit at some point. Where you focus your attention brings more of what you're focusing your attention on. Let's say I am in love with somebody and they are not within arm's reach at the moment. And if I obsess about the fact that they're not within arm's reach at the moment, can I get anything else done? I could say, no, I'll distract myself, I'll get some work done, I'll read or whatever. But as many times as you get notifications on social media, if you look up something, every time you look up on Twitter or on Instagram or on Facebook, you'll find somebody saying something about love. And there I am, right back again, obsessing about the fact that they're not close by. It's normal. It's not just me, it's everybody. I've heard this 100 times when I coach my clients. It's hard, but it's doable. Why? Because breaking habits are hard. When I'm forced to go work out because somebody's there with me, it's a whole lot easier. When I start a group and there's someone cheering me on and I'm cheering them on, oh, easy. I can keep on going forever. But if I'm forced to do it by myself, it's hard. It's hard. No one is here, slave master, driving me to post every day. I got to do that for myself. And it really does depend on how I feel. Unless I have a system in place, unless I have a schedule in place. But it's doable. Everything is doable. You just got to figure out how it works for you. So today, if nothing else, I want you to follow your thoughts and pay attention to where all your energy goes. What are you focusing on? What is it you want in life? And then where is your energy going? Is it towards what you want? Or is it focused on what you don't have? That's my 2 cents for the day. I hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day, and I will catch you again later. Y'all take care.